So welcome. As you can see, the waves are crashing today a little more vigorously than normal. That's okay though. Waves do that. It's part of the journey. And something that I think is worthy of our reflection today. As we wrap up 2016, I don't know about you, but the waves were pretty intense. And I have a sense that it's not going to get any easier. In fact, it may get worse. Like crazy worse. Perhaps we'll be asked to endure weather and storms like we have never seen before. And I'm not talking physical. Okay, let's just be really clear that I mean emotional storms. I mean, we never really know what is coming. And how it's going to land, how it will affect us. Especially now, humanity seems to be in such an interesting position where we've never been more ready to become peaceful, and we've never been further from peaceful. So when the waves are crashing in around us, how do we stand strong? And that's my reflecting point that I'm using to take me into 2017. I really don't think we can prepare in any other way but to focus on grounding ourselves and staying anchored so that as the crashing waves come in, that we are not wearing away and breaking down. You can't really see it because of the snow fencing, but there's a pier that I've been watching as I've been talking, and I watch every time I come here. This is literally 2 minutes from my house. But this pier stands against it all. Just stands there. What kind of resilience is in the foundation of that pier that it hasn't, in the 25 years I've lived in this city, washed away? What's it made of? What's the foundation? And that's what I think our focus needs to be as a humanity. What is the glue that's holding us together? And honestly, I don't know if I could have answered that question 6 months ago. But after witnessing what I saw at Standing Rock, not just the water protectors, but the global community. First of all, the individuals who rallied for the purpose, for the water, and then the tsunami that was created out of that ripple. It was fantastic to watch. To see the upswell. I've never witnessed anything like that. I've never been involved in anything like that before. So for me, it was just amazing. And then once it hit sort of critical mass and started trending, the whole Standing Rock event, then you saw all the Facebook pages opening, all the GoFundMes. Oh my goodness, everybody's GoFundMe. And all of the diligence and service and commitment and unity and compassion and empathy that was pouring out of the world into this community that was building at Standing Rock. But not just that, there's been this whole sort of rallying around this larger circle that has grown in support of the water protectors. So, here I am in Ontario, Canada, and I'm able to anchor my energy here to every other person who is anchoring their energy wherever they are in the world. And together we create a grid. If we can keep our prayers up, if we can keep our thoughts on high, and I don't mean being high, you know what I mean. Keep the positive, don't get sucked into the negative, and allow ourselves to be like the birds who can land on those waves and just ride. You don't see them landing and panicking because they could drown. Weight distribution, all facts, and physics considered, this idea that we can stand with a core energy anchoring us to the earth. And that core energy is love in all of its varying degrees. That's the magic. And that's what will allow us to endure the waves. So, this idea that I could come to the lake and I could feel really badly for all the poor underwater creatures that are getting bashed about and who can't stand in one spot. But that's my perception completely missing the point. That I'm not an underwater creature, therefore I have no way of understanding the purpose of those waves and how they benefit me. The same goes in life. Just as a wrap up, I'm reflecting on my entire life. Every New Year's, I reflect on my entire life. I don't just reflect on the last year. And I've given up on New Year's resolutions, that's for sure. But this idea of reflecting on the last year, yes, and my whole life, and the culmination of all the wisdom that I have gathered through my tests, through the times that I've been tossed around in those waves. That's where the magic is. When I can find my lessons, my gifts. Every time I got knocked down in those waves, every time I drowned in those waves, every time I got soaked when I didn't expect to be, when I wasn't prepared for it, every time I got swept away by my own emotion instead of being able to sit on the surface and riding like a surfer. There's a fellow named Jim, I want to say Crone. I think it's Kohn. But he talks about how, we are individual sailing ships and the same wind blows on us all. So all of the storms that are hitting us all. And it's how we set our sails that matter. It's how we man our ship. That keeps us either on our course or allows us to be blown about and potentially capsized. So when you're heading into 2017, friends, I'm in this process of accepting everything that's happened as a gift and opening all of the hallways and all of the doorways, known and unknown, so that I can clear my past and make room for what the future brings. And finally, I just want to add to love where you're at and trust the process. It's really important to trust that even if you're drowning in those waves, even if you're being tossed about, even if you're soaked, that there's a reason you should get back up and find your core. There's a reason you are here. And there's a reason you're listening to this right now. So don't give up. Stand back up. Every time you're tossed around, stand back up. Remember why you're here. Find your core. Find what anchors you to the most resilient strength that you know. And anchor yourself there so that every time you have to get back up, you're grabbing onto the same anchor. You're tapping into the same anchor. Well, if that isn't clear as mud. Anyway, happy days, everybody. And we'll see you in 2017.